Money laundering and war against corruption is our discussion on the program today, and I'm joined by Malaki Ogumadu and Larry Suraj. Thank you, gentlemen, for staying the course on the program this morning. I recall that we had a conversation with Professor Ise Sage as at the time that the president was assenting to the Money Laundering Act, the Money Laundering Bill of 2022, and he was quite optimistic about it, that this new law covers institutions and measures not included in the previous 2011 Act. I'm told we have a call. Reverend Dominic has called in. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to our guest, Mr. Ogumad, my brother, my friend.
Good morning, Reverend.
Yeah. Barrister, listen to me. If this judgment has come around 2014 or 2015, 2016, I will be excited. But I'm not more excited about the judgment of corruption in Nigeria today. You know what I mean? From 1999 to 2014, we have a challenge of corruption. When Buhari came with the mantra of corruption, in my pulpit, as an influential person, as a leader in my own standard, I had to convince the church to leave what they call Christian president, to vote for a Muslim president, because I believe it could fight corruption to stand still. But this government has made corruption worse from our history. How do I mean? So quote me well. There's two persons they put in prison, and we say this hurrah. It's a new day. That's John Yame and direct in prison. This government came into power of corruption mantra. Release them to go home. I listened one of them insulting all of us as Nigerians. They did not do nothing. That process took almost 10, 13 years. And then nobody said that they did not commit crime. But we give them amnesty. In a government that speaks of anti-corruption, this government has made everything worse. And Ogumadu, I paid me a lot. Why should a man who steals Nigerian money pay fine? And a person who steals corn, nor recharge card, rot in prison? What a nation is like that? Injustice is the power of this nation to destroy it. What the young man who eats so right to eat, rot in prison, and the person who deprived the whole nation money, go home with 30 million. What a nation. This government have done worse. And I don't know how we like it. Everybody who talk about the Labour Party, it doesn't mean well for Nigeria. Whether you are a Labour Party, whether you are a Reverend Dominic, when you come in class, you pay for it. So somebody else will come in tomorrow. God bless you and God bless you, TBC. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Dominic, for your contribution. So the highlight of this new act is saying that it criminalizes the operation of numbered accounts, and now financial institutions are mandated to report certain transactions and confirm the beneficial owners before opening such accounts. How optimistic are you? For instance, there's now a new unit in the AFCC that majors on money laundering. How optimistic are you that this new law will perhaps do better than the previous one?
Well, to continue to put all your faith in the legislation is to show how naive you are in the kind of system that we have all constructed for ourselves. What is by far more important than the pieces of legislation is the will of the drivers of the polity to rid Nigeria of corruption. And that dovetails into Reverend's concern. You know, you can imagine the anguish that Reverend suffers. I mean, and it's not alone for somebody who preached and tried to persuade his congregation and people within his space to vote for the candidates of the ruling political power, considering that as at then he had all it takes to wipe out corruption in our society. Now, that was the wish. He hoped, now against hopes, and now you are talking of just legislation. You have always heard that our problem is not legislation.
Let me hold you for another minute. OKOROAFOR has called in from AROCHUKWU in ABIA State. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning. Good morning, Nifende. Good morning, San Malaki.
AROCHUKWU.
You see, Malaki, look, let us face reality of life. Money laundering, our judicial system, EFCC, other intelligence, and ICPC, the judges, and our lawyers. I see no reason why a case, either a suspect of criminality or money laundering, whatever we call it, should be lingering in our court for over 6 months. Malaki, my brother Nipem, let us look at Kenya. When the judicial system came on board in terms of the election, how many days does it take? It didn't last up to 2 weeks. They defend the case. Why is it in Nigeria, upon the whole law school we have, upon the professors of law we have, all the science and the judicial system we have now, the judges and they'll be lingering that they'll go to the lawyers will come and adjust. It doesn't make sense. At the level that we have reached now, when a case, whether money laundering, anything you may call it, should not last more than 1 month. But in Nigeria, it doesn't mean that we are still going on analog judgment system or digital judgment. I don't do it like because we are making everything. We rubbish everything in this country. Because I think, to me, I'll tell him to resign or step aside or throw him in store. But you see, Doyin Okupe, other people are there. Honestly, when we talk about laundry or no laundry, our judicial system, they have just messed up the whole judicial system, everything from Tom, Dick, and Harry. Look, we have to be very careful because the way we are making our judicial system is no longer healthy. Good morning. OKOROAFOR from AROCHUKWU.
Good morning, and thank you for your contribution. You're saying that having filings is very different from the implementation, right?
Yes. So, and all of these are playing out in a way that enables us now this time around to remain extremely circumspect from all angles. And then those who think that it is just a problem of the judiciary and the legal profession are just hiding behind their fingers. It is a societal problem. It has become systemic. And if you don't watch it carefully, it has become existential. Because like I do say, and I think I have mentioned it even on this platform, the notion of justice, which we cherish so dearly, is rooted in confidence. And that confidence is not lost when you lose a case or win a case, as we have seen in this instance. It disappears, it evaporates when the public, and the public is the man on the street, loses faith, loses confidence in what is happening in the judiciary. We must not and cannot afford to get to that point. At that point, you're already looking at the last bus stop before anarchy. And you don't extract it. You don't tell people what they will believe in. You must ensure that justice is not just done, it is seen to be done. Otherwise, the people will lose confidence.
Comrade Suraj, it's important that we begin to drive this home and begin to ask the question of what way forward. Because one caller did say an administration campaign on the platform of fighting corruption. You also want to ask yourself the question, what could he have done differently? And I'm making reference to the Buhari, to President Muhammadu Buhari. The judiciary expected to be independent. We've seen EFCC prosecute as many cases, over 3,000 convictions alone this year, more than the commission has had since its inception to 2020. What is the way forward? What could have been done differently to salvage the situation?
I think it is very critical, and I would want to start from where my brother Malaki landed. Apologies, my brother, for some of you that we know in the judiciary and also legal profession. We can always hold forth for you, but for some of, especially particularly senior lawyers and some of the judges, they have actually constituted themselves into the clog in the wheel of speedy dispensation of justice, and especially when it comes to the cases and issues of corruption. I would give you a very simple, lucid example. Just like Mazi OKOROAFOR said, it is extremely difficult for you to have this speedy dispensation of justice when the first thing that lawyers will do at the moment a suspect is charged to court, especially high-profile corruption cases, the next and the first thing is to go and seek for bail for such suspect. And at that point, the only next level, and we must come to this realization without deceiving ourselves, to say that, we would get speedy justice when the suspect is actually enjoying his freedom, is also spending some of the proceeds of crime. Take two examples, very simple, straight. Mofa, who is suspected for money laundering charges, was arrested in Nigeria. And you can see how senior lawyers bombarded the court until he was granted bail. This other guy, Osh Poppy, was arrested in the United States for the same cyber crime offenses. He is standing trial while he's in jail. Now the process is going. Monfa has disappeared from Nigeria. He's not even anywhere near trial because he was granted bail and he has escaped.
Comrade, please hold that thought for a minute. Just hold that thought for a minute. I'd like to take this call very quickly and then I'll return to you. George has called in from IKEJA. Mr. George, are you still there?
Yes, please. Good morning, and good morning to Malaki and Mr. Suraj as well.
Good morning, George.
Malaki, please, it is you I would like to ask this question. The Administration of Criminal Justice Act, why is it that it seems the judiciary is not interested in using it as it was designed? Because you have to try cases consecutively. And adjournment should not be more than 2 weeks, if I'm correct. But that's not what we are seeing. The point I'm trying to make is that corruption is a large entity. It's not only the executive that is affected or the legislators. The judiciary itself must check itself. What are they doing to check themselves? Malaki, let's look at what is going on now. During this election period, you see judges saying candidate ABC is not qualified to contest. The candidate goes to court, and the appeal court says he is qualified. Another court will come and say he's not qualified. It looks like a business in the judiciary. I think if the judiciary is to live up to expectation, it should first of all purge itself. Because whatever happens in the other arms, everybody resorts to the judiciary. If the corruption is to be fought, the judiciary must first be sanitized. And I want to hear from you as a critical stakeholder in that industry. Please, what do we do? What are you doing within yourself to ensure that we can run to you, being sure that we'll get justice?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you will answer that just after the comrade. So you are saying that you were talking about the culpability of senior lawyers. I would rather also think that, what do you expect them to do? They couldn't have done anything outside the law. In this crime, a suspect is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. There must have been a loophole that they are taking advantage of.
No, there's really no loophole in the law. It is just in the system. And when they say the suspect is innocent, it is about because lawyers are not just there to go and defend criminals and make them escape from justice. The first primary responsibility of a judicial officer is to ensure that justice is done, and like Malaki said, not only just done, but seen to have been done. And even if you're suspect, your client is whoever in the society, you have your conscience and you have the oath that you swear to uphold truth and justice. And at that point, you can only go to the court to admit the guilt of your client and plead for clemency. That is not the situation of what we have in Nigeria. The situation is just to make every criminal escape the long arm of justice. That is usually the primary purpose of the defense lawyers. And the moment we are in that situation, let us not moralize, this practice of saying the suspect is innocent.
I'm just wondering how reliable it will be to count on the conscience of lawyers. I mean, there are quite a number of them.
It is extremely.
If there's no standard law, You know, if there's no standard framework of law that they must abide with, asking that they go by their conscience will be a very tall order, don't you think?
Let me, if you don't...
No, it is. There are standards, and that is just like what the last caller said. You know, Malaki said there are 5 adjournments. It must not be more than 2 weeks. And like I also said, you see adjournment even by the Supreme Court against even the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, giving adjournment of several months. And this we cannot. There's no amount of law that will change the system. It is we, the people. And as long as the rot permeates and pervades and persist in the system, we shouldn't continue.
I hear you, Comrade Suraj. We are running out of time now, and also would love to hear from the lawyer before we go. But let's hear from who's on the line.
Nifemi, good morning.
Oh, Yakub has called in from Dokpemo. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Quickly, because of time, I think I totally agree with Reverend Dominic and then Mr. George. I just want to ask Mr. Malak a question here. You see, within our law, that a big high-profile corruption case should pay fine. And then if you look at what Mr. Suraj said earlier, how much do we spend to prosecuting this case? At the end of the day, we now tell the person to pay some certain amount of money instead of me to serve the time in jail, even to recover all the money. Because I don't see it as a winning case for us as a Nigerian as a whole. If somebody take out such amount of money that was supposed to use for infrastructure, that taking a lot of people's lives, driving all the way from Lagos to Ibadan as at that time when the road was bad, and then the same person now, they are not telling the person to pay some certain amount and go free. I don't know, maybe it's in parameter of our law that a big high-profile case like that should pay money, and then some people that does not even thief a damn. In fact, some of them are rotting in jail now. They don't have access to even lawyer. Please, Mr. Malak, say something to this. Thank you.
Suddenly you have become a defense counsel. Now you have to defend
I'm very clearly on the spot now, and I can understand that. Again, I share their sentiment. If anything, I am with them. And so you need to understand that the law as a practice has been contrived to strike a balance between the society and the class that it has structured itself into. So you now begin to perceive a situation in which it appears the law is leaning more on the side of that class. The problem is, how are you able to hold on to this law, which has proved to be the best way of dispute resolution in any civilized society? Otherwise, you'll be advocating for a resort to self-help.
Anarchy.
How do you, in the face of what has become clear, how do you sustain what the law should be in the society? I think that is the challenge. Now, you talk about speedy trials. You talk about convictions as deterrent, as a measure of deterrent. It appears the way we are applying the law, it is not working. Because those who steal billions come out to pay a pittance, they will continue.
And they continue with their business. They don't resign. It doesn't affect their chances at the poll.
So whether we like it or not, it falls back to the judicial officer. I'm not talking of the legal practitioners. The legal practitioners are doing what they need to do to defend. That is what they are trained to do. The judge, in law you say, he is litus dominus. He is in control of his court. So whoever it is, however powerful, that wants to derail what the set objectives of the law is, that person must be reined in. My brother Surai talks about those who don't come out from prison. You see, there are certain applications you make over there, including the James Ibori case. You will be derobed. We have not gotten to that stage here.
We have to go now.
My parting shot will be that the consciousness should grow even higher than it is now.
Indeed.
The society must turn the searchlight in the judiciary. But this party that prides itself as one that has come to do something differently must find a way of dealing with the image that has been created by this conviction.
Well, we heard that they're having a meeting. We'll see the decision they make thereafter. Afterwards, this conviction. Malachi Ogumadu, constitutional lawyer, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this morning. Larry Surratt joined us virtually, Chairman, Human Environmental Development Agenda. I hope that the next time you'll be in the studio.
Larry, congratulations on your anti-corruption cases you just published. I watched it.
Is Mr. Surratt still there?
Thank you. Yes, I'm still there.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. A big thank you to everyone who's also been a part of the program this morning. That's our time. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thank you for joining us.